How's it going, friends? Reckless Yuki here. Hope you guys doing fantastic. Thank you guys so much for checking out the video. I do greatly appreciate it. In this video, what we're going to do is take an old MacBook Pro. This happens to be a mid 2010 model. And what we're going to do is make it fast once again, because this thing is pretty freaking slow. And my friend who let me borrow this to basically do this video, shout out to you, Clay. Thank you very much. We're going to basically revive this thing, and the thing that really chokes these things up is mainly the hard drive. Sometimes the RAM if you only have a little bit, but mostly the hard drive. So what we're going to do is go from start to end. I'm going to show you basically step by step everything you have to do. If you have one of these, you can also upgrade your MacBook, and these are usually pretty easy to do as long as you don't have the Retina MacBooks, because those already have a solid state drive soldered in, and also it's soldered in, so there is no upgrading. But if you have these old ones, they're very simple to upgrade, and I definitely recommend anyone who has one of these definitely upgrade it, because it will be a world of difference. And as you can see, here is an example of the start time that you can expect if you do upgrade it. On the left hand side will be the stock hard drive and stock RAM that came in the MacBook Pro. And then on the right is the upgraded stuff. And this is both OS 10 Sierra. So it is the upgraded operating system. And as you can see, it is a significant difference. All right, so now we're going to get into the first step. We're going to move to the MacBook Pro. And in case you don't know which MacBook Pro version you have, we're going to go up here to the Apple symbol, click it, and go to About This Mac. And as it loads up, it'll basically give us an overview of the information about this MacBook Pro. And it's a MacBook Pro 13-inch mid 2010. That's something very important to keep in mind. And then it has some other information that we might need, like the memory. It has 4 gigabytes of memory. And then if we go up here to storage, it will tell us how much of a hard drive we have in here. So right now it has a 250 gigabyte hard disk drive, basically a regular spinny disk drive. And this is why the system is very slow. So that's a good idea to kind of also look in here basically to see how much of your hard drive is taken up. So if your hard drive is completely filled up, you might want to consider upgrading to a larger hard drive when doing this sort of an upgrade. Or if it's not even filled up, let's say halfway or less, then you could possibly just stick with the hard drive amount, like 250 gig, and you'll be perfectly content, but enjoy the faster speeds when you do upgrade to an SSD. So that's the information that you're really going to need to take in at first from your MacBook Pro. All right, now moving on to step 2, we have some websites that we're going to have to search in order to get some information on upgrading this. And the website that I really like using to figure out what is available for a MacBook is Crucial. Crucial's a memory and hard drive manufacturer, and they make some pretty decent stuff. And I really love this site because they allow you to find ways to upgrade with compatible parts. So the thing that you want to do is go to crucial.com, and then you want to scroll down here to where it says 2 ways to find the compatibility upgrades. You can go download the scanner if you want, but we already know exactly which MacBook we have, so we'll just use this feature on the left. Select the manufacturer, we'll go to Apple. Then the product line is a MacBook Pro, or not Mac Pro, MacBook Pro. MacBook Pro systems, and then select the model. We know that it's a 13-inch and it's a mid 2010. So we're going to click that, and then we're going to find the upgrade. Pretty simple. And then this will tell us exactly what we're able to upgrade to. So it says your MacBook Pro 13-inch mid 2010, specs shipped as. So what we can do is have a maximum memory of 8 gigs. That means 2 4-gig sticks. And then the storage can be any 2.5-inch storage. So on the right hand here, it will show you the compatible memory and the compatible SSD. Now, one thing to keep in mind about this is Crucial's website. They're going to show you basically what Crucial has for compatibility. But if you would like to try to shop around to find a better price, which I always do, what I like to do is to copy this product number for the storage. So this is the 8 gigabyte kit, and that's what we're going to upgrade to with this MacBook. Go over to Amazon, search for that here, and then you'll come up with what Amazon has or whatever website you prefer shopping at. And right here we see that it has a Crucial 8 gig kit for $60. So that is a good $10 cheaper than what Crucial.com was advertising us for. And so if you want to go with this kit, you can. It's the same exact thing. But if you would like to kind of see what other things they have one here from Corsair, which is cheaper by about $20 from the Crucial site. So if we click this, we could get this. And even though it says Mac memory, you want to basically ensure that it is going to be compatible with your Mac. And so what I like to do is go back to this website and look at the information here. We know that it is DDR3 1066, and that is a very important number to know, as well as CL7, another very important number to know. So those are the two numbers that I will keep in mind when kind of making sure that an alternate brand's memory is going to work with your MacBook. So if we go down here to the information of this Corsair memory that we selected, we see that it is a DDR3 1066, PC3 8500. That's another important number I forgot to mention. The PC3 8500, we want to make sure that that is the same. And then as we go down here to speed, it is a CL7. So this is compatible memory. So if I was to choose memory to upgrade for the cheapest price, this is the one I would personally select. And now if we move on to the Corsair, we basically already did, so that's an extra window. And then for the hard drive, you can go here and select one of these hard drives if you want. These are kind of expensive in my opinion, especially for what it kind of offers. I think this is what, a 2 terabyte hard drive. That's way more than what we need. Possibly like around a 500 gig is what my friend wanted. So a 500 gig, 525 gigabytes is about 130 from the Crucial website. But what I like to do is go to pcpartpicker.com. Then we're going to browse by individual parts, and I'm going to click on storage. And then on the left here, I'm just going to stick with shopping at Amazon because I like Amazon. So I'm going to deselect all these. So the only thing showing up is Amazon. And then we will go down to SSD because that's the type that I want. And then the capacity, we're going to select at least 450. 450 and up is the capacity that I am interested in. And then the form factor, mostly it's all going to be 2.5 or M.2. I've never personally seen a 3.5 inch, but I think there might be. I don't know, but that's not important. And then we go up here to price, and we basically select this to find the cheapest memory we can. And from the looks of it, these are the cheapest memories that are available right now. And then you just basically kind of scroll down to find something that you are compatible with or that you are comfortable with. And the memory that we ended up going with is this Ultra, which wasn't this amount. It was a little bit cheaper a few days ago when I did order it. But this is the one that we inevitably went with. And click on there. It will go to where you could purchase it. And for the price right now, it's $123, which is decently cheap. So, I mean, that's a pretty good price. So that's another thing to kind of keep in mind, that these prices might not reflect the actual prices. So if you click on it, you might find it for a little bit cheaper. So it's $123, which is definitely cheaper than what Crucial had it for, or Crucial had it for their, well, they also offer you more gigabytes, but that's still, you don't really need that. This is perfectly fine. So the main thing when shopping for RAM is just basically shopping around to click on it, make sure that you get a brand that you can trust at a good deal. All right, so now moving on to step 3. Once you get the RAM in the hard drive that you ordered, make sure that it is actually the RAM in the hard drive you order, because sometimes retailers might send you something by accident. So it's always good just to double check to ensure that it is what you actually paid for. The next step would be to basically take a thumb drive, and what we're going to have to do is create this into a boot disk and load the OS operating system on it. So make sure that your thumb drive is at least like a 2.0 speed, and as well has at least 8 gigabytes of free space. It's usually good to have something that doesn't have anything on here, because we are going to basically reformat this. So anything you did have on here is going to be wiped away, because you basically have to make a Mac boot drive. All right, now moving back over to the MacBook, the first thing we want to do is open up the Finder and ensure we go to our applications and make sure we have the Sierra Mac OS installer installed. Now, if you don't see this in applications, you basically have to go to the store and download that. And the way that you do that, let's go to the App Store, and then usually over here on the right, you will see something like this called macOS Sierra or macOS, whichever operating system you're wanting. You can click on that, and then if you haven't downloaded it yet, it'll basically say download, and if you already downloaded it, it should show install. Once you do download it, a window will appear to basically open up the installer once it loads, because this is really slow. So basically this will come up once you finished downloading it. And you don't need to click continue. All you have to do is go up here to the installer and hit quit. And so once you have that done, then we need to basically format the thumb drive in order for it to be able to accept the boot disk. So basically just install your thumb drive. All right, up at the corner, the thumb drive mounted. Then we're going to go to applications, and then go down here to utilities, and then go to disk utility. And then from here, we're going to find our thumb drive. And what we want to do is erase it. This is currently in an exFAT, so it works with both Windows and macOS, but we can't use that for this. We got to go to Mac Extended Journaled. And I don't want to call it thumb drive. We're just going to call it something simple. So lowercase boot. And it's important to remember this because you're going to basically need to know this for the code that we're going to have to put in the terminal in the next few steps. So it's probably best just to make it something simple. So boot is perfectly fine for me. And then we just hit erase. All right. And when it's done, it's done. And then it'll ask you something stupid. I don't care. Don't use. And done. So now it is a completely fresh boot drive, or basically a completely fresh thumb drive, so that we can move on to the next step. Now that we downloaded the installer and we formatted the thumb drive, we're going to go back to the Finder and go back to applications and utilities because we're going to find the terminal. And this is what we're going to use to create the bootable disk. And we have to enter in a line of code. So what I basically did was go to Google and typed in macOS Sierra boot apple.com. And then it told me the resource from apple.com and how to create it. And going to here basically tells us exactly what we already accomplished. And then down here, it has the lines of codes that we're going to need to use. Now, one key thing to keep in mind that we need to replace volume path with the actual name of our USB flash drive. And I'm not really too concerned with this installer path because we didn't really move it from where it naturally downloaded. So example for Sierra, we're going to select all this and copy all that. And then I'm going to move into a Word document or whatever sort of Word type of application you have, and basically just hit paste just so I can inspect this. And the thing that I want to change is my volume here. And instead of calling it my volume, I want to change it to boot. All right. And so then I'm going to copy all this once again. Copy. Then I don't need this anymore. And then we're going to go back to our terminal and hit Command V and paste. And the password. And then it's basically asking me ready to start. To continue, you need to erase the disk, blah, blah, blah. Are you sure you want to continue? Type Y for yes. Yes. And now it's doing its thing and creating the boot disk. So this is going to take a little while. All right, now after some time later, the bootable disk will be done. And as you can see, it goes through all this. And then at the bottom here, it says done. So that is what we want to see. And as we can see, the boot drive changed from boot. Now it's called the Install macOS Sierra. So that is the new name of the, basically of the USB. So we are completely done with this. Now what we need to do is just go ahead and shut this down because now we're going to swap out the hardware. All right, now moving on to the next step is going to be swapping out the hardware. So we're going to need to take our MacBook Pro, flip it around, and we are going to need to take off all these screws. And also keep in mind which screw goes where because some of these might be longer than others. So kind of keep an eye on like where the short screws go compared to the longer screws. Just make basically mental notes of it. So like I said, some of these screws might be longer than what the others are. So keep in mind where these came from, like from these 3 holes, so that when you put this back together, it will be a lot easier than trying to guess where exactly things went. And now we're just going to gently lift off the back here. And not too bad, just a little bit dirty. And then we have the hard drive here and we have the RAM right here. So that's what we're going to swap out. All right, so we're going to take the RAM that we got out of the packaging, and to basically replace this, we're just going to push on the sides here and it's going to flip up like that. And we're going to gently remove it and kind of keep in mind the orientation in which it went in, but it's not too difficult. It basically could only go in one way. And then we're going to pull these tabs out again for the bottom one to lift out. And then we're going to gently pull it away. Okay. Now just basically take the new memory and start with the bottom and make sure it's orientated the correct way. And then just at the angle, push it down gently. Make sure you push it down firm so it's nice and snug. And then like basically push it in so it's nice and snug in there. And then just push down. And then it should snap in like that. And then we'll do the same with the second stick. Push it in so it's nice and firmly in place. And then go ahead and push it down till it snaps. And then that's all there is to upgrade the RAM. Now next is the hard drive here. Now in order to swap out this hard drive, we're going to have to, I believe, take out these two screws. So let's go ahead and try that. All right. And I was right. Basically just had to remove those two screws. And then this whole hard drive assembly comes out, but you want to be very careful at the end here because it's basically connected at the end. So you want to pry this thing off. And then that's the cable that's connected. And now the hard drive is free. And then the thing you want to do is with the hard drive, what we're basically going to do is take this plastic tab off. So it'll make us easier to install or remove it the next time when we install the new hard drive. And then on the side here, there's these little metal screws that we're also going to have to take off. And looking at these are very small Torx heads. So make sure you have a Torx head available when doing this. You can try and get it off with a pair of pliers. It's what I did in the past. But if you want the correct tool to remove these, basically a T6 or a TR6 for one of those security screws. But then just go ahead and loosen these up. All right, now that everything is stripped from it, just go ahead and put it on the side. Then get the replacement hard drive out. All right, now that we have the hard drive, basically put the stuff back on that you want, like this little tape on the side here. And put on these fasteners on the sides here. So these are basically like the ways in order for it to securely mount in your system. All right, now that that's done, basically you want to re-plug it in into the hard drive or hard drive in with this cable thing. And then basically just ease it back in there. And now re-secure those two screws. And make sure not to over tighten these because this is basically plastic. I'm pretty sure it's just screwing into plastic. So if you over tighten it, you're going to strip it out. So just make sure it's snug. All right, now that's all left to do is basically put back the cover on and then screw it in. And make sure you just start off with the long screws so that you know exactly where they go, since the smaller screws can be placed anywhere. And then just go ahead and secure the back on. All right. And that's basically all there is to it to swapping out the hardware. So now we got to basically boot it up and install the OS on the new hard drive. All right, now we're ready to turn on the Mac. We have the charging cable in to make sure that the battery doesn't run out. And we have our thumb drive placed. And then we want to press the on button and then basically just hold down the option key. And as we see, we have the install Mac OS Sierra. And basically we just want to hit this because this is where we're going to be booting from. All right, now we're greeted with this screen. So now what we're going to want to do is go to Disk Utility. And we're going to want to make sure we click on the SanDisk Ultra 2 or whichever SSD you installed in the system. And then we're going to hit erase and make sure it's macOS Extended Journal, GUID partition map, and then name it whatever you want. I am going to name it Macintosh SSD, since it is an SSD, and that's what we're going to call it. So hit erase. All right, so erase that, and it's formatted. Now it's called Macintosh SSD, and hit done. And go ahead and exit out of this because now we have it formatted correctly, exactly what we need. And we're just gonna hit install Mac OS. So basically upgrade or install a new copy of Mac OS if you want to install a new copy. So that's what we want to do. So continue. All right, so now it's just say setup and continue. So we're just gonna hit continue. Agree, agree, and select this where you want to install it. So I want to install it in the Macintosh SSD, the one that we just installed, and hit install. And now it's going to install the operating system on that SSD. All right, so the install process is done. It takes a good while for that to go through, even with an SSD. I think it's just because with older MacBooks, you might not get USB 3.0 ports. So you're kind of limited to 2.0 speeds. But we're just going to go through the beginning part here. All right, and looks like it's working. Now, one final test that we're going to do to ensure that it has taken everything, we're going to go to About This Mac and make sure that it does have 8 gigabytes of memory since we did upgrade it. So it does. It is a new Sierra. And just to double check the storage. So the Macintosh SSD looks good. So it looks like everything here is good to go. So exit out. And so that's basically how you have to, or basically all the steps that we had to do. All right, so that's basically it. That's all the steps needed in order to take an old MacBook Pro and updating it so that it's able to meet today's standards. So it's not really, really, really slow, because things about back in 2010 definitely were a lot slower than they are now. We just weren't aware of it because now technology has moved along. And SSDs, I think, are a major plus and a need and a necessity when it comes to computing. So the speed of this is a lot faster, and yeah, I'm done. So hopefully you guys found the video enjoyable. Hopefully it wasn't too all over the place. I try to keep it as concise as possible, and let me know what you think in the comments below. I'll try to make sure to put all the links necessary so that it makes it easier for you guys to follow along. And thank you for watching. Have a good one. Bye.